Hey y'all, in this video I'm going to share 3 things that I would do differently when starting my business. Let's get into it. Hey, I'm Tiffany. I created Boss on a Budget to help nonprofits launch and scale and raise startup money for their nonprofits, but I'm also talking today about business in general. Boss on a Budget is not a nonprofit, it's actually a business, and I just want to share some insights around what it takes to run a business. And in this video, I want to share 3 things that I would do differently that I didn't do when I started years ago. So I hope this video helps you if you're starting a business or even starting a nonprofit. These are the things that I would do immediately or do very early on in the business so I can avoid some of the traps that I fell into with my own. So the first thing I would do is set clearer and more intentional goals around what I want for my business and what I want for my personal life. So, and these goals could be at different levels and they can be different types of goals. But one of the things that I didn't do is say for myself, where do I want to see my business 5 years from now? Where do I want to see my business 20 years from now? My goal of starting a business was just, oh, I hate having a job. And it wasn't that I had terrible jobs. My last job was actually one of the best jobs I've ever had. So it wasn't that I didn't like my experience on the job. I just didn't like working for other people. So the only goal I had for myself was I want to work for myself. I want to feel that freedom of knowing that I make all the decisions for myself. But I didn't think beyond that. I didn't think, well, what kind of business do I want, right? Do I want to have employees? Do I want to be a solopreneur where it's just me? Do I want to actually build and have a corporation and get millions of dollars? Like what's your budget? Like how much staff do you want to manage? Where do you want to go? Where do you want to expand? Is your mission ever going to expand beyond what you want it to be right now? I didn't go into any details like that. The only goal I had for myself was to start. And that's a lot of people when they're startup entrepreneurs. Your only goal is, I just want to have a business. And then once you get the paperwork, it's like, oh snap, what do I do? Right? I actually have to work this thing. I actually have to figure out where I'm going. So if I were starting over from the beginning, I would have clearer goals around how I want the business to look this year, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, because that also will guide the decisions that I make and how I move and how big the moves I make and how much I invest in myself and invest in my business. So for example, if I know I want to be around for a long time, then as the years go by, the time and the money I invest in the business has to grow if I want the business to grow. But if I have no expectations of growth, then I'm probably going to be stagnant and going to be stale, which happened for a while. I didn't move and didn't scale as quick as I could have with my business because I wasn't thinking long term. I was just thinking to get by. The other goal that I didn't set, or type of goal I didn't set, was how do I want my business to translate in my everyday life? I didn't say to myself, I want to have this kind of lifestyle. I want to have a business where I only work 4 days a week or I only do this. I did not think about that at all. But in reality, that's what my desire was. My desire was actually to work less, but I didn't think specifically about what that would take or what an actual goal for me was. So what ended up happening was that I'm a workhorse. So I work 7 days a week. And when you don't set those kind of lifestyle goals for yourself, then you don't set boundaries to ensure you meet those goals for yourself. So I didn't have any kind of boundaries around working. I didn't have boundaries when I was working for a regular job. So why would I have any boundaries with my business? It would be even worse. And so I ended up working constantly, which is honestly still a struggle at times, that you work so hard and you work every single day and you got to have time to reset. You got to have time to spend with your family and spend with your loved ones. But I didn't set those goals, so I didn't have clear boundaries. So if I were going backwards, I would say, this is the kind of life I want, and I'm going to set up my business from the beginning to get to this point. And I may not be able to get there in the beginning, but I'm going to get there to this point. And it's way easier, right? It's way easier when you're clear about that, and you're intentional about that, so that you can pull back when the time is right, than instead realizing, oh snap, I'm working too hard. How can I rewrite this? When you haven't designed your work, when you haven't planned to do less. So also have some lifestyle goals for yourself so you're clear how you want the business to translate into your day-to-day life. The second thing that I would do differently is focus on marketing and my message first. So I'm a type of person who I like to do the work. I like to have an output because that's what I excelled at on my jobs. I was actually good at executing, but I wasn't necessarily good at messaging what I do or communicating the impact or the value of my work. And when you are a business owner, marketing is important than anything else. Like what people think about your organization or how people view you, your brand, and the messages they get from you to talk about why you matter and why your business is needed. That is essential, because if you're not constantly putting yourself out there and constantly visible to your potential customers, then you're not going to get customers. So marketing and messaging is vitally important, but that was not my priority. And it wasn't my priority because I'm not a marketer. I'm a social worker. So that wasn't my strong suit, and I was okay saying that wasn't my strong suit. I was okay saying I'm not a salesperson. I'm not good at this, so I'm not going to focus on that. I'm not going to worry about that. And so for myself, I just figured, well, if I do good work, then the clients will naturally come, or the customers will naturally come. And I have realized over the years that it doesn't matter how good your product is or how good your output is. If you're not good at messaging it, if you're not good at communicating your value and why you're important, if you're not good at getting in front of the right customer, then you're not going to be as successful. You're not going to be able to scale. So if I were to start from the beginning, I would focus way more on marketing. I would think about what my key messages are, what's the value I bring, who's the customer I'm trying to attract, and what matters to them. And I will focus on the things that make me visible and that establish me as a credible person. And I would start doing that from the very, very beginning, because how people perceive you, how people see you out in the marketplace really matters. And you have to attract the people that you want to sell to. And if you're not constantly working on that, then the pipeline of people who are able to buy from you or able to use or buy your products will not be enough for you to survive. So the second thing I would do is focus way more on marketing and get my message tight and making sure I'm clear that I'm always showing up to the people that I want to sell to. And the third thing that I would do differently is I would accept my role as a CEO way sooner. Honestly, from the very beginning. So what do I mean by this? So when I started my business, I had a side hustle mindset. I'm just doing this on the side. I'm just trying to make some extra money. But all at the same time, I knew I wanted to work for myself full time. But it's really hard to have a side hustle mentality when you're trying to launch or move to full time, because when you move to full time, you then become responsible for everything. So there's not somebody managing your benefits. It's not somebody managing your time. There's not somebody telling you what to do every minute of the day. There's not somebody ensuring you have work and ensuring that your salary will be paid every 2 weeks or every month. All of that is gone, and it is your responsibility. And as the CEO of an organization, you're not just responsible for yourself, you're responsible for everything that's managed under that business, right? So other employees or contractors directing their work, leading their work, but also making sure the organization is healthy, but also making sure you as an employee, if that's how you set it up, is also taken care of and you have what you need and the structure you need. So it's hard to work as an employee and the CEO and transition in that way. But it's really important for you to have the mindset of a CEO from the beginning, because then you're setting up the structure that your business doesn't have to have you as the center to run. Because you need your business to continue running when you need to take a break, when there are things that happen in life that you just can't get to it. And I didn't realize that until I had to go full time, that, hey, it's just you. And what if you won't be here 1 week? How are you setting up processes? How are you setting up a structure so that the business runs? And so I focus so much with that side hustle mindset of having everything revolve around me and focusing on me, but everything needs to be centered on the functioning of the business. And I had to kind of remove myself from that. And it's still a work in progress, not saying I'm there, but understanding that mindset that I have to operate as the CEO and I have to run the organization, not just worry about doing the work and operating as an employee. So if I were to do things differently, I would adopt that mindset way earlier. I hope that was helpful. If you have suggestions for how to scale or how to start your business or the things that have been helpful for you in your startup journey, your business or your nonprofit, make sure you comment and share so we can learn from each other. Thank you so much for watching. And by the way, if you need help starting a nonprofit or you're curious about what it means to start a nonprofit, go ahead and visit my website at bossonabudget.com. I have a bunch of resources there that would be helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.